All right, and just like that, I'm back with another portable Clint. The thing about being portable, Clint, is you got to be portable. So I'm going to start trying that out a little bit more, try to move around and check things out. But anyway, I have an awesome guest. I have been seeing this smiling face for 23 years. I'm not kidding you. Every time I go into a waiting room and I see this gentleman, big smiles. I love this dude. Ladies and gentlemen, David Reivers. Look at this. Look at that.
And
look at that.
And like that, I'm here.
Look at that, man. Look at you. You look fantastic, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Okay.
Hard work to keep this up.
I bet, man. I bet. David, when did you think about moving out here? Tell me everything.
Well, I started my career in New York, right? So
Right.
theater. That's where I started. I went to a community college. I did 2 years at a school called Kingsburg Community College. Studied some theater there, and then I decided, hey, let's go do it. I started going out and auditioning for plays in New York, and I was doing some off Broadway stuff.
Let me stop you right there. Is it a totally different vibe auditioning for plays in New York than auditioning for TV shows here?
Absolutely.
It's totally different?
Absolutely.
Can you just give me one description how it's different?
I would say that everything happens a lot quicker here.
In New York? Oh, here. Okay.
For TV.
Okay.
It's more of a process. I mean, you go through your audition, then there's a callback, and then there's some work throughs before you get to that. So there's a bigger process, I think, for especially for guest star stuff on TV. TV is like, it's so quick. You know, it's like you go in and you hear right away that you're going to be doing it. So I think that's the main difference. But for theater, it's sort of more of a process of you go in, they call you back again, work with some other people. It's,
How many auditions does it usually take to book a play?
Well, that was the start of my career, so it took a bunch.
Well, no, I'm saying because you said you have to keep going back and forth.
Before they actually.
Yeah.
I would say at least 3.
Okay, in Hollywood, you go audition one time and you could have a part by the end of the day.
That's it.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a lot faster.
Yeah.
But because the volume is so much more here for those TV spots, you know, you're always constantly going in for them. I mean, I used to go in for a lot more, but it used to be like, oh yeah, we have a pin in you, and then nothing.
Right.
You know those pins,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, I know those pins. But I'll tell you what, David, I'd rather have a pin than an Avail. Well, because the Avail commercial world, I feel like they've been putting a lot more on Avail. The pin, I feel like it's just down to you and another person.
It's true to some extent.
Yeah.
Or to another person or two. But for me, when I do Avails, my Avails are usually close to a booking. I mean,
really?
I think most of the time for me, I think when I'm on Avail,
what's the secret then, man?
I have no idea.
Because my Avails meaning I'm going to get kicked in the gut later. I mean, that's what my Avails mean.
No, I mean some of those happens to me too. I mean, I get my share of disappointments.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But I would say on a percentage, yeah, of course you get more Avails and bookings, but I pretty much know a vibe when I go in if I have an Avail, and if I don't book it, usually I'm like, and I know I kicked ass.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's like it depends on maybe one person not deciding, to go a different way.
Yeah.
Because I've had those situations where you know when you go in the room and you work the room and you got that room in your hands, and then the next thing you know, it's like you've been released, and you go, whoa,
wait a second.
That was in the bag.
Yeah.
And then you had the opposite where you go in and you go, oh, that went well. And the next thing you know,
you booked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So David, you're out in New York and you are going auditioning.
Uh-huh.
How long are you out in New York doing this before you decide to move here in LA?
Well, I started my career in the late 80s in New York, right?
Okay.
And then I fell into doing TV
What year?
commercials.
What year exactly? Do you know? Just because I started in '87, so I'm always judging people by the year.
88. So my
Okay.
son was born in 89. It's about 88 is when I started. I think before that I was doing plays in 85. But as far as like commercials, I think I did my first commercial in 88.
Okay.
And then I found Tracy Goldblum with Abrams Artists in New York.
Okay.
She was my discovery for commercials. She discovered me.
How did she discover you? How did she discover you?
I was doing workshops. These are those workshops where you meet those agents.
Yep.
And Tracy saw me at a workshop, and she was like, "I could use you," and she was right away like a champion for me. She started my commercial career, Tracy Goldberg.
Isn't it great to have the angels along the way?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it makes...
To this day, I will mention her anytime I want, anytime, because Tracy's the one who sort of said, commercials, you can do them.
Is she still on your team?
No, Tracy's in New York.
I know, but I didn't know if she was still on your team.
No, when I left New York in '96,
because I always hear people have like agencies, they have an East Coast office and a West Coast office, so I thought maybe that could have been something for you.
Well, the truth is, I went from Abrams, New York to Abrams, LA.
Right.
So different team.
Okay.
Team.
I got you.
And the team that was in Abrams, LA eventually left and started AKA.
Okay. And that's who you're with now.
That's who I've been
Doug
with.
Ely.
Doug Ely, Pamela Porter, Mike Abrams.
Yep.
Those are my peeps, man. That's like my family.
I know. I got the same family, but it's a smaller family over at Film Artists Associates.
Yeah.
One team. One man team.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, no, it's funny because people always say, "So who do you work with over at AK?" I'm like, nope, I work with everybody. Those
nice.
guys are I can honestly say they're as close as family gets because they've kept me working for the last 20. What did I say? How many years I've been here?
25? Going on 25.
28 years that I've been here, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so David, when do you say, let's go to LA?
When do I say go to LA? So that sort of decision.
When and why, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So it got to a point in the early 90s, mid-90s, early to mid-90s, where I was starting to work more commercially, doing less theater, and
doing commercials in the late 80s were very lucrative days. So
tell me about it.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Late 80s or exactly.
Yeah.
That was the sweet spot back then. People don't know.
No, they have no idea.
Yeah.
They have no idea.
Yeah. So I was doing a lot of TV commercials and less theater.
Okay.
So I said, well, why don't I go out to LA and try to do more TV? I mean, that was the thing, right?
Makes perfect sense.
At that point in my career, TV wasn't as big in New York. I mean, there were a couple of TV shows, there were the soap operas that I did, but I wanted to sort of expand my career.
Sure. Yeah.
It just so happens that everything fell into place. I made plenty of money on some TV commercials where the money was just like, oh, okay, I think God is telling me it's time to move.
Right.
I had two young kids at the time, and I was married at the time, and we said, all right, let's give this shot a move. So we moved out in January of '96.
Is it crazy moving a whole family from one coast to the exact opposite coast? It sounds like it.
Absolutely. But when we came out at first, we decided we were going to try it, right? So we got into one of those apartment rental places.
Sure, Oakwood Apartments?
Oakwood Apartments,
Yeah.
but I didn't go to there's that one on Barham that everybody knows about.
Yeah.
No, I stayed away from that.
Which one did you go to? Because I know them all for some reason.
Woodland Hills.
Okay,
We're in the Woodland
I know
Hills.
that one.
Yeah.
I know that one.
And then, so we moved out here. We said we're going to try it for 3 months. Now, at that time, also, my two younger kids were also in the business.
Okay.
So here's a crazy story.
Please.
About. So we moved out here. Everyone's pursuing it, right? Everyone, two younger kids. We had a friend that was a studio teacher on the Roseanne show.
Okay.
And my son Corbin, would go over there and study, to do his work with her.
Wait, tell me, what do you mean go over there? Like go onto the studio lot?
Yeah.
But how did he get on the studio lot at that time?
Well, because of the teacher. We knew that teacher. She was his personal tutor.
Okay.
And then she would sort of help. And so one day he was just at the set, and he was at the craft service table, and Roseanne walks up to him and says, "Who are you?" And my son, being smart, says, "Who are you?" Roseanne goes, who's this kid? Who's this kid? I like
that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Roseanne fell in love with him and my younger daughter, and said that she wanted to do a TV show with him, and took him over to Warner Brothers.
Get out of here, man.
And signed the development deal for a TV show, which never happened, but
No,
but you know how that goes.
But still, yeah. But I mean, it still works out for Corbin. So, but anyway,
Corbin and my daughter, yeah.
And
my
your
daughter was 2 at the time.
Wow,
Isn't that
really?
crazy? Yeah.
Okay, so
I know it's a crazy story that no one really knows,
Yeah.
and that was kind of what solidified us staying there, because once we signed that deal, we're like, well, we're staying.
yeah, for sure.
So we signed. We went back home, got the rest of our stuff in Brooklyn, and
David,
history.
you don't have to tell me the figure, but was it a good figure that Warner Brothers gave you for 2 years?
Absolutely, for a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old at the time. A 6-year-old and a
Times
2-year-old.
times two, right? So you're getting times 2 the amount?
Yeah, development deal.
Oh, okay.
Now you know how those things work,
I know.
right? I mean, if anyone out there knows how the development deal works, you sign, you can't go do anything else, but they're developing projects. What happened after that was Roseanne's deal with Warner Brothers fell through.
Okay.
So, the show never got produced, and they just got that money because it was guaranteed money. They had to sit on the shelf for a year, but then my career, but then I was able to start working myself.
Okay, so when did you start working out here? And we'll go back to those kids in a second because that's a good story as well. But go ahead. I want to hear about you.
Commercially, pretty much right away. I mean,
you picked up right where you left off.
It took me a while because obviously in LA, there are casting directors that have to get to know you. It's not like they don't know who you are. It's a new guy, but I had, as I said, really good agents over there. I had the experience already. I've been doing them for 8 years before.
Yeah.
So it wasn't long before everyone figured out who I was. I booked, first couple of commercials in that first year.
David, you've been on my radar from the get-go. I remember you when you came into town. Like you just had that $1 million smile. You were friendly to me, so you always stood out. I mean, seriously, thank you. Thank you.
I'm like that with anyone. If you're like that with me, I'm like that with you.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you're gonna be the bad vibe, I'm like, okay,
we'll go there.
We'll go there too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you know what LA's like.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people
man.
try to give you that sort of stuff. But you're cool. Yeah, I'm cool with you.
Yeah, man. Okay, so you start doing commercials. Is it just nonstop? Is it just bam, bam, bam?
Yeah, I mean, commercials is what kicked it off, and then eventually, I got a theatrical agent, started going out theatrically. I think I booked my first theatrical thing that came on in '96, probably like '98. I did an episode of it was Tim Allen's show.
Yes, Tool Time, not Tool Time.
That's my yeah. But
you know what show? You know what show we're talking about.
Yeah. So I did an episode of that show. I did a couple of things, but what happened was with Corbin also, he took off. He and everyone knows, if you don't know, my son is Corbin Blue of High School Musical fame. But he was
by the way, yeah, I mean, my daughter, that you have no idea how many times I saw your son in my house, dude. My
in
daughter
a lot of people's
loved,
house.
Yes.
But back then, he was, we just got here, he was 7 years old. He booked a recurring role on a show called High Incident that didn't last too long.
Okay.
And he was doing, little guest star roles here and there. So, as far as the family, people working. My daughter, she was doing some things too. So,
is your daughter still in the business?
No.
Your daughter, she went to college recently or something.
Well,
right?
I have 3 daughters.
Oh, okay.
So my oldest daughter, Hunter, is now in optometry school in Florida.
Wow.
So she used her money that she made from the business.
Really?
And
Okay.
She did her undergrad at Baylor University. And
Texas?
and then went on to NSU in Florida to do.
So she's the smart one of the bunch. I mean, being out of this business for a second. I mean, she's not, because Corbin and your kids and you did great.
But let me tell you something. All my kids are pretty smart, and I'm pretty blessed. Corbin actually got into Stanford.
You know what? I'm not. Well, first of all, let me just say, I'm not saying that he was dumb by any means by staying in the business. I'm talking about being out of the business. Sometimes I'm kind of envious of those people. Sometimes.
Well, but now I have my 17-year-old, and she just got into Stanford.
You
So
do have
Corbin
some
never got a
smart-
chance to go, but now
You
his
do have
younger
some
sister-
smart. Why are your kids so smart?
I have no idea. God, thank you. Thank you. I thank him every day.
Well,
It's
good.
pretty
So
much
do
the
I.
same.
Yeah, I do too, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we still have a 15-year-old to go, so we'll see where she ends up. But she's a pretty good student also.
Well, listen. Now we're on while we're on the side street of the kids. Tell me really quick. Corbin did High School Musical 1, 2, and 3,
Yes.
and then part 3 you came on board, right?
Part 3, I did a small part. You know, Kenny Ortega was nice enough to sort of give me the role of Corbin's dad. But I'd already played his
Well,
dad.
I know. I was going to say this. I was going to bring this up. So somewhere between those 3,
Yeah.
they did another movie for Disney,
movie, yeah.
another Disney movie, and you had a fantastic part. I remember watching this one a lot. It was a boxing
Right. It's called Jump In.
Jump In.
Yeah.
And you worked with your son. Is that the first project that y'all had worked together?
Yes. As far as like movies, we did do a couple of commercials together.
Okay.
With him and my daughter. But as far as like a movie, yeah.
What was that like, man?
It was incredible.
Really?
It was incredible. We shot that in Canada, and you know, well, first of all, Corbin was just offered the role, but then with me, you know, they still made me audition.
Yeah.
But it was great. I mean, it was a great opportunity. I'd worked with Corbin pretty much his whole career before that, you know, as far as coaching and helping him through the business. But to get that opportunity to work with him as father or son on a project like that, it was pretty cool because, you know, we sort of kept it real in a sense. You know, we really worked hard in making it not too over the top, childish or Disney, you know, those things to do. But
Well, David, let me ask you this side question. When you do a project like that with your son, does he still need another guardian with him? Another legal guardian? You know how kids need legal guardian? Okay,
not really,
because you're on
I'm there
right.
at the
I
time,
just didn't know if there was a technical issue that's not possible.
Not really. I mean, I did commercials with my. I remember doing a commercial with Hunter when she was younger, and she was. It was in LA. Yeah, she was like 3 or 4, and you know we did this. You know, and it's kind of nerve-wracking because here you are, you know, with your daughter,
Yes.
having to take care of her as
Yes.
your daughter, but also having to take care of her as this actress,
Exactly.
young actress is set. So it is a little nerve-wracking to do, but it was fun. It was fun. I mean, looking back at those days, and those opportunities don't get to come along. You know, a lot.
No, you're right, man. That is a special time.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, wow, that's cool. So you do High School Musical 3, and then he goes on to go to Broadway. Is that correct?
He's currently on Broadway doing a show called Kiss Me Kate, which is his 4th appearance on Broadway.
Now, when my daughter, who doesn't really go out as an actress, but we have good friends who put them in things, but they do audition every once in a while. So what I'm trying to say is when they book a part, I'm so happy. I felt like I booked the part.
Of course, yeah.
Is that exactly how you feel?
It's a family happiness. You know, we as a family share in each other's, in others. In everything that we do, we all share
That's awesome, David.
in the happiness for each other.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Tell me about your other daughter. I don't really know too much about her. You say that she's an actress too. I know I've seen her. Yes.
Hunter.
Not Hunter. The other one, the younger one.
Oh, the youngest one?
Yes.
No, she's not. No,
She's not?
no. The 2 younger ones never got into the business. The only ones who were in the
okay.
business was Corbin and Hunter, the 2 older ones.
Okay.
I think after that we had enough. It's because it's a lot of work.
It is a lot
It's
of
a
work.
lot of work, and I think
Especially when you have your own career and you have an audition, and it's like, okay, dude, I need to focus on me a little bit here.
Exactly.
Not being selfish by any means, but you gotta,
Absolutely, and there's an 8-year gap between the second and the third child. So we had the first 2 when we lived in New York, and then we had the 2 younger ones, Phoenix and Jag, once we moved out to California. So we have our own East Coast, West Coast rivalry.
No, okay, cool. All right, nice. Okay, so now let's get back to you.
Me.
So I remember there was a big budget movie that you were in, The Poseidon.
Yeah.
Tell me about that because, you know, us commercial actors, we know when one of us pops up in a movie.
Right.
Like, oh, dude, when I saw you on that, I was seriously happy for you.
That was my first big budget experience for myself, so that was pretty exciting, you know.
And this was the Poseidon Adventure remake.
The remake, right.
How many days, if you don't mind me asking, were you on that? Because I feel like that was an ensemble piece, so I feel like that's more work than normal.
It was. I mean, I think I ended up probably working about probably about a week.
Okay, where? Here in LA?
Yeah, it was at Warner Brothers Studio.
Okay.
Because that's where they built the ship, and then all my work was on the ship. There was a dinner scene on the ship, and then there was a death scene that actually didn't end up in the movie where I did all this makeup where I was already dead.
Oh, okay.
Which is great.
Spoiler alert: he dies. Thanks a lot, David. I'm gonna watch it later.
It's an old movie. If you haven't seen it by now,
yeah. Well, okay.
But I don't end up in that anyway, so
okay.
you don't see it. So, but it was great makeup. I have all the pictures from that. So.
When you're doing a movie like that, are you starting to think, okay, got the movie out of the way, I'm going to book more movies? I mean, what did that do for you when you filmed it, and what was the reality afterwards?
Well, I think the reality just in general, I mean, because even not only movies, but booking all the TV shows. I mean, I did a year on a show called Charmed.
Yeah, you did. You sure did.
So, you start doing all these things, and you think eventually it would lead to either a series regular, because I think that was my goal when I first came out, to get a series regular role. I'm
going to ask you that question. What is the goal you're here for? If you want to answer that question, is that still your goal? Is that still the number one thing?
No.
What is it then?
At this point in my career?
At this point in your career, what's the thing that you want?
Just to continue working, whatever it is. Just
Amen.
to continue working,
Amen.
whatever it is. Because I'm so at the back end of my career. I'm enjoying life right now.
You say you're at the back end of your career. I mean, you're only what? How old are you?
56.
Dude, you're a pop still, man. Get out of here, dude. Character actors like us, we just get better and better.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I my goal is just to continue working as this character guy. I mean, I could probably work till I'm 90, right?
Yeah, and the commercial world, I feel like has not turned their back on you, because I always see you popping up in commercials.
That's a funny thing, the commercial world, because when I started my career back in the late '80s, I was the young dad, right?
Yeah.
Then I became the older dad.
Yeah.
And most recently, I've shot a commercial as grandpa. So when you get to those stages, and of course now it's all the pharmaceutical spots, that's going on. That's sort of my thing. So there's been a.
By the way, pharmaceutical spots are the best spots to book.
Totally.
And why are they the best spots to book? Because why?
Because medicine sells.
Medicine sells, exactly. Okay.
Because in this country, as you know, pharmaceuticals, the medical companies put a lot of money into their products, and they put a lot of money into advertising, and it's big competition. Yeah,
I mean, but seriously, everyone wants to book a pharmaceutical ad. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's good. It's fine.
So, how many commercials do you think you've done in your whole career?
It's always a question.
Why do you say that's always a question? Are people always asking you that question?
Well, because I either that or when people meet me and they don't know what I do, and I said, well, they find out I'm an actor, like, what have you done? I said, well,
don't you hate the question trying to help them figure it out? Because
I do, because then they want to know, well, what commercials? And
I've never seen that.
Well, the next thing I always say to them is like, well, do you watch TV? Because people don't, and they go, no. Well, you wouldn't never see me that.
Yeah,
you wouldn't never
exactly.
see me, so don't worry about it.
Right.
But I'm in the hundreds. I'm in like I would say anywhere between 200 to 300 commercials
really?
I've done over my career.
What was your favorite? What was your favorite commercial? And do I say what was your favorite commercial, or do I say what was your favorite campaign? Let's start with the latter first. Have you ever booked a campaign?
No.
Okay.
No, I've never. I mean, as a spokesperson.
Yeah.
You said? No, I've somehow those have just not found their way to me, which may be good because sometimes I think some actors
Yep.
get overexposed when they do those things.
Exactly, because you're going to be known for that product, and you don't want to be known for one product.
Yeah, and I'm just the face.
Okay, so now, what was your favorite commercial?
Gosh, Clint, that's a hard question.
I know it is. I know. I just
so
didn't
difficult
know. I
because,
mean, I could tell you mine just because of the experience I had filming it. I'm not necessarily saying it was the biggest moneymaker, which is also was the biggest moneymaker, but it just, I didn't know if there was something special that happened on a set that made it the best. I don't know.
You never know with those things. But I have to tell you, recently I just shot a commercial in Chile
Really?
in December. So
Wait, what was this for? I feel like I auditioned for something that went to Chile to film. What was it for?
I'm not going to say the name because the product's not out yet. You know we can't say those
Yeah.
things.
Okay,
But,
I got
it was quite an experience for them to just fly me over to Chile.
Yeah.
I literally really only worked one day, maybe two. I was there in 5, so I got to go out and explore Chile.
David.
I mean that to me was that was the tip of my experiences in commercials. And 2 years before that, I had gone to Mexico City, but the Mexico City one was so fast. I was in and out. But Chile was beautiful. Beautiful people in Chile. It was nice. That was fun.
As an actor, guys, there's nothing better than being flown somewhere to film because they pay you nicely, they give you money.
You fly you first class.
First class, nice hotels.
Right.
They only play. I mean, I've been flown a few times, but my Chile would be when they flew me to Amsterdam.
Right.
I had a good time there.
So I just thought about it. So one of the most fun commercials I did, and this was back in the 90s. I think it was before I came out here. Flew out to Walt Disney World to do a Walt Disney commercial. Okay, so the experience of that, because they don't close the park.
Oh yeah.
So you're walking. I mean, there's a shot of me and this little boy playing my son walking down Main Street being filmed. People are watching. It's just like that was one of the craziest moments of filming a commercial.
I bet.
And you got to ride rides, and they paid you to do that.
Ah, David, that is the ultimate gig. That's a good gig.
I have to say, that's probably one of the best ones.
All right, David, we're going to start winding down here.
Okay.
Let me ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
Worst time in Hollywood?
Worst time in Hollywood. I mean, look.
And then, by the way, I don't want. This is all career-wise. I don't want. I don't want to get heavy with other stuff.
I know. Look, there's always disappointments because there's always things that you go up for and you want to get, and this business is so up and down. There's such a wave. I've been totally blessed in my career where I've worked consistently. I've never missed a year of not having insurance.
Amen.
That way.
Amen.
In 30 years. And some people that people don't really sort of understand, but the people in the business know, wow, you've never missed a year of making your money for insurance. And I'm gonna knock on some wood here that I continue because I still have ways to go. But yeah, that's been impressive. But as far as like worst moment, and if there is a worst moment, I've probably forgotten about it.
Well, that's good. That's great. I just didn't know if there was a time. Like I remember the first time I was slow. It was the very first time because once I started working, I worked, and then there was 6 months. I had a 6 months dry spell. It was the very first dry spell that I had, and I was like really trying to figure out what I'm going to do. But thank God, that's when I found Second City, and because I felt like I needed to go do something because I wasn't doing anything, I went to join Second City, and the worst time became my best time because I met my friends who are still my friends today.
I think for me, always having my family there was the best thing because when things get slow, having my kids sort of always kept me going because my kids are kind of my life.
Yeah.
Show business is not my life. It's all about my.
And David, that's probably why you're working all the time because you're not putting the business before your family. You're putting your family before the business. And I think
sometimes they collide. I mean, because sometimes you're on vacation. You have a vacation plan, and you're on a veil, and then the next thing you know,
screw my family.
Next thing you know, one time I was in New York, seeing my son on Broadway, and I booked a commercial that I had to leave the family in New York to come back here to shoot a commercial, which was a really good commercial that made me a lot of money.
Good,
But those are difficult things. Those are difficult choices that we make sometimes.
Yeah, but that's just kind of like one story you're thinking of. It's not like you just turn your back on your family for 6.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that those are
No,
times
I get
that
it.
makes
No,
it
yeah,
difficult.
yeah. Is there any advice that you've learned along the way that you kind of stick with, that you put in your back pocket?
Yeah.
What's that?
Be true to yourself. Be true to who you are, and don't try to emulate other people. I think that's some of the young actors out there, especially, they fall into that trap of wanting to see somebody's career and wanting to say, I want to emulate that guy. I'm like, no. It's not about emulating, because there's only one of that guy.
Yep.
You know, there's only one of you, one of me, and the one thing I've learned, that I'm in no competition with anyone. You know, if I'm going to walk in the door and get a job, it's about me getting that job. It's not about anyone else. Because if they're going to choose you, they're going to choose you. They're not going to choose, they're not going to say it's this guy, because if they chose somebody else, that's the guy that was supposed to get the job. And you have to sort of learn, that's one of the things you have to learn to live with when you go into this business, that it's not about, if you're out there putting out the good work, it's not about you. You just got to go in and put your work in, and then leave it alone.
David, I know why you book a lot. I mean, just spending 30 minutes with you right now, I know why you've always worked. You got a great attitude. You love your family. You thank God every day for what you got.
Yes, I do.
All right, David, thank you so much for doing this. Will you do me a favor?
Yes.
I'll shake that hand, dude. David, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Tell everybody bye.
Bye.